Welcome back to the community, everyone, and thanks for being here. If you're new, please consider subscribing and checking out the website also. Lots to see there. Okay, today we are going to take a pause and figure out, are you right for the Beetle and which one do you want? Okay, there's different Volkswagens to choose from, obviously. So let's go over 10 or 12 things about Volkswagens and see which one you would like to buy, or maybe this will be interesting for people that already own them to just go through and reminisce a little bit about the different things with them. Okay, sit down, crack a beer or a cup of coffee. Let's get on. So you're looking to buy a Volkswagen, or you already own one, and you're just being nosy. Okay, there's quite a few to choose from, more than what people realize. First of all, you have Type 1, Type 2, Type 3, Type 4. Okay, and what are you after? Are you after an old split window? Or are you after an oval? Or are you after what we refer to as the large window? Okay, and there's things to consider here. You know, a lot of people are after an old nostalgic look, you know, like an old split window or an old oval done to a classic restoration, which is really awesome. I've always liked that and appreciated that type of work put into it. Or you might be ready to buy a Baja or cut them up and make a Baja. There's plenty out there that you could probably already buy that are already cut up instead of cutting up another Beetle. But then again, it's your car. You do what you want to do with it. The thing with the Baja I've noticed with a couple of people and things I read is people like to go after the early models with the Link Kingpin because they're a little more, they'll take a lot more abuse off-road. Super Beetles, we're getting into another level here with the McPherson strut front end and extra room in the luggage compartment. And I meant trunk, not luggage compartment. Anyhow, I have driven both, and I will say the Super Beetle is superior in handling. It's superior in comfort. They're totally different, more than what people think they are.
Oh, Gracie's rolling. Oh, look, another Beetle. There she comes. We'll be going for a ride momentarily. He wanted to take it for a ride real quick. He's a real good friend of mine. And he rolled good. Nice.
But right now I have a 68. So I mean, it's all in what you're after. But there's many things to choose from. That's number one. Number two, do you want an early or do you want a late model? Okay. Your earlier models consisted of the split windows, I believe were up to 1952. And I believe the ovals were up to 1957. For some reason I'm thinking 58 though. Excuse my brain, it's older probably than most people's on here. Okay, and after that, of course, we had the larger windows in the back. The split windows and the oval windows have become pretty serious collector cars from what I can tell. The prices are going up quickly. So you'll want to go ahead and decide how much money you want to spend. Everybody would like a split window, well, I mean, I guess, you know, or many people would like a bus. They're really expensive. You got to decide what you're after, and that would be number two, because in 1968 was the last year for the swing axle, and after that they went to the IRS. Now they're both double jointed, but that's the way we all refer to them as. In 68, however, they did have the IRS if you got the semi-auto stick. Because when I was 16 years old and bought a 68 Beetle, it had the IRS, but it was a semi-stick, which I quickly removed and put a 4-speed in. But anyhow, there's also fuel-injected Beetles, you know, from 75 and up. So you got to decide, do you want earlier or do you want late? If you got some money to play with, grab an old oval. or a split window if you can find one, or a bus if you got some money to throw around. That is worth it. Now, also in the earlier ones came the 1300cc, the 1500cc single ports. Now, they had more torque with the single port, believe it or not, but highway speeds, yeah, you know. In 1971, I believe the 1600 dual port came out. And that is a favorite among everybody, I suppose. So there's a couple of things you got to think between early and late. But remember one thing, you can take a dual port 1600cc and even build it up if you want. And you can put it in a 1958. It don't matter. It's still going to go in and hook up. So that's early or late. That was number 2. Number 3, make sure when you're checking any vintage Beetle out to go over it for rust or rot. I did a video on that. I'll put it in the description below with the check on these. Even mine has a sunroof, but remember, there comes a price. Usually when they're older, you got to put new cables in and clean the tracks up. So that's depending on what you want to do. They have pop-out windows on some, which can be expensive if they're broken or anything when you get them. So check for rust and rot. Drain holes plug up on these over the time and end up rotting the cars out. And also the undercoating wasn't that great back in the day. So that's what to check. Let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is to check the engine. Okay, now yes, these engines are much cheaper than a new car, you know, or an up-to-date modern car. But if you don't know how to rebuild one or remove it or anything, then you're going to be into some money. And not a lot of people work on these. Maybe in Florida or California, some of you guys might be lucky and still have them shops. I'm Northeast, good luck. But anyhow, first thing you could do is grab a hold of the crank pulley and check for 3 to 5 thousandths back and forth of end play. If it's more than that, you can usually tell by feel, then you're probably going to be doing an engine rebuild. If there's any oil leaks like the valve cover or stuff like that, that isn't really a big deal. You can fix that easily, although the air-cooled, they do leak oil. Mine, when I redo them, they're pretty good for quite some time if you do them properly. Push rod tube seals can leak on them. That's not horrible to do if you want to slip in some spring-loaded ones, which I don't recommend. If you've got an oil cooler leaking, then you're going to be pulling that engine out and you're going to be pulling it apart. So I'm not trying to scare you and tell you not to get one, but just know what you're in for. But there's many videos on YouTube, even besides mine, that teach you a lot of knowledge of what you need to know. So check the engine over pretty well, you know, make sure everything seems tight on it. And I doubt if you're going to take the time and do a compression test at somebody's house. Wouldn't be a bad idea though. But go over the engine, make sure that it's in decent condition. You can usually tell by going over them. Okay, that was number 4. Let's move on. Now we're moving along to number 5. Check the transmission the best that you can. The swing axle is a little different than the IRS. They're both double jointed. However, the swing axle has oil seals, a big boot on it that can leak. Go over the transmission and look at it the best you can. The IRS is the double jointed with the CV joints on each end. Those are actually pretty easy to change the half shafts, I call them. You can also change the seals on the sides of the transmission, the final drive seals. I have a video on that too. That's really all not so bad, but here's the main thing. Take it for a ride if you can. Make sure under high load and low load that it shifts fine, okay? Now don't go lugging somebody's engine just to be a wise guy. Check it and make sure it shifts smooth. Sometimes the clutch could need adjusted, which is very easy to do. I have a film on that. Make sure it's not popping out of gear. Put it in reverse, let the clutch out on the level. If it seems okay, try to find a slight grade to back up, just a little bit, put it in reverse and see if it pops out of gear. Another one is grinding between gears or popping out of gear. Usually seems to be second gear for some reason. I could be wrong, I've had a few that I met that jumped out of second gear, and I think it's from people banging into second. You know, these are race cars, so you have to do it. They're like an old Muncie transmission. No, they're not. Thankfully, one thing I can say about the Volkswagens compared to other cars, which I still love cars. I love Novas, I love Falcons. I'm not going that direction. But you can actually have somebody, there's quite a few guys around the US that will build your transmission for you for like 12, 13, 1400 bucks. That really ain't bad, to be honest with you, in this day and age. So that was number 5. Let's move along. Number 6, I'm not even drinking, is your brakes. Mine's missing the front axle beam. Check the braking system. If you're going down the road test driving and it shudders when you hit the brakes, you're going to need drums and brake shoes. They're probably out around. They were all fitted with 4-wheel drum from the factory, okay? And if you keep up on adjustment on them, they're truly not bad. You always want to make sure that your handbrake cables are working properly, okay? The new cables are not that hard to put on, so don't make a big deal out of it, okay? I think I did a video on that probably. If not, I'll do one. Here's where I'm going with this. You can go over to front disc. MP makes a set that I just installed. There's a video I just did on it with drop spindles. Cool. But here's where I'm going with this. The front disc upgrade was a nice upgrade. I test drove the car. We drove along. I think it's 3-4 videos back. We did a test drive with my GoPro. A lot of fun. Honey, he's throwing balls.
This is it, boys. Making dreams come true.
The disc brake in the front is a really nice upgrade. The rear disc brake sets they sell too, if you're getting into some high horsepower, probably isn't a bad idea. But check the braking system pretty well. It's very cheap to redo them. It's not expensive. But check the braking system, because this can all give you angles on getting the price lowered a little bit on the car. I'm not saying go try to screw somebody out of their car, but at the same time, what's fair is fair. Check the braking system good, especially before you go driving at home like a maniac. Number 7, check the vehicle's front end, okay? A lot of times, the old King and Link, they're strong and sturdy, but it could take a specialist to press them apart and do it the right way for you. Your link pin and that, they're not horrible, but they're not fun to work on. So give it a drive, jack it up if they'll allow you safely, and check the front end. As they moved along later, we got the ball joints on the front end. Okay, this is the one I just took off my car. When you're checking these beams, even on early or late, you want to check to see if there's rot, like there is on mine, especially right here, okay? They end up with holes like you see here. And that's bad, then you need a whole front beam like I need, but I bought it knowing that, okay? The ball joints on these do get pressed in, so they're not horrible to do, but you do have to take your arms off and take them to somebody and press them in, and they have to do it properly. There's notches on that. If it's not pressed in properly, you're going to have issues, okay? Check the front end. When you get to a Super Beetle, okay, a lot of times they talk about the Super Beetle shimmy. That can really be aggravating because you have a lot of different bushings under there. You have your struts, of course, because it's a different type of system, but it is so comfortable. But anyhow, when you're checking the Super Beetle, go ahead and wind it up about 55 miles an hour if you feel safe doing it, and see if you got any shaking going on or any shimmying. It's all repairable as long as you don't mind working on the car. Okay, let's move along. Number 8, what do you want to do? Do you want a modified Beetle, or do you want to start out with a bone stock one? That's very important, because you don't want to go buy a cow look or a modified Beetle and take it back to original. You can do that. I'm just saying you might be causing yourself more aggravation. If you plan on doing a classic restoration or a classic daily driver, then look for one that hasn't been cut up or molested in any way. If you're after a Baja, just go try to buy a Baja. But it's up to you. If you're going to modify one, then buy one that maybe needs some pretty hefty work done. You know, maybe the front end's a little rotted, you're cutting it off anyhow for a Baja. Or if you are going after a cow look, try to find one. There's so many for sale out there, from the Craigslist to the marketplace to eBay, and sometimes you find them sitting alongside of people's houses. It all depends, but try to go after what you're going to create. I hope that made sense. Okay, now what do you want to spend on a Beetle? That's what really comes into play. I know a lot of people get on and they watch Barrett Jackson or Meekum and they think, oh, my Beetle, it's worth $25,000. No, it's not. Unless maybe you have an old split window that has 200 mile on it, okay? And I've been seeing the prices go up lately, which is ridiculous where they're at. But who am I to judge? I don't know. I don't go around watching the market. However, if you're going after an old split window or an oval, plan on writing a nice check out, because it's going to add up fast. The later models, you know, say 64, 65 and upward around there, aren't as bad. They're still up there a little. When you start 68 and up, the price starts coming down. Now, I've still seen them bring $10,000 that are in perfect condition. However, you can get them a lot cheaper off the Craigslist. And obviously, if you're going to buy one that needs some work, the price keeps going down. The Super Beetles actually are very desirable for somebody like me, as an extra Beetle or as my main Beetle, because of the comfort, and honestly, you can get them very reasonable. You can pick up a really clean, where I live, a very clean Super Beetle for about $6,000 to $8,000 that's clean, okay? So it all depends on what you want to spend. If you're going after a bus, you're going to pay while you're crying at the same time. And the same with the other types. They're a little bit pricey, they're not cheap. So your Beetle's probably your best budget for the air-cooled Volkswagen lineup. So, okay, let's move along. Last but not least, number 10. Last one was number 9. I think I forgot to say something. It's okay. You have the power as a buyer to call the shots. Yes, the seller's in control. There's no doubt about that. Make sure the bug, you know, that you're looking at, or the bus, or the fastback, squareback, notchback, well, I'd like to have a notchback, or the Gia, make sure it passes your inspection. You got to watch with sellers. I'm not saying they're all bad. There's a lot of great, honest people out there. However, you can get them where they'll try to hide things. They will patch over holes with something so you can't see them. Look it over good. Mechanical stuff you can always deal with. There's plenty of videos out there, like I said before. However, if there's a lot of rot, you're in for a long run, especially if you don't know how to weld or fabricate or do anything like that. You're going to be in trouble. Check that them doors are opening good, that the doors don't drop when you open up. See why. Is it the hinge pins? Is there rot on the dog legs or anything? You're the buyer. You have the power. And remember one thing. When you're looking at them, if you think it's a good price and you can deal with the work, go for it. If you're hesitant and think, oh man, there's a lot of rot here and I don't know, I might have to lift the body, which ain't horrible, but the price is so good, that don't matter. There's always another Beetle right after that. There's millions of them out there. So don't just jump on the first one you see, okay? Okay, so that was 10 examples of purchasing a Volkswagen Type 1, 2, 3, 4. It don't matter. It's all the same when it comes down to it, of what you're actually looking for. You already may own an air-cooled Volkswagen, and you just needed a little brush up, a little memory, and maybe this video will help you out if you're going to buy one. They're really a great car. I love them. I really do. I've loved them for 40 years. So don't hesitate if you want to buy another one, or to go out and look for one as your first one. I have my other video in the description below, or right there, you can click on, and it'll send you to what to check when buying, where I go over the car. Thanks for being part of the community here. I really appreciate it, guys and gals, and I'll see you soon.